Very good morning to everyone. This is Shivaram Krishna and I'm speaking from Vishnu IAS Academy. Today I am going to discuss about very important topic, that is agriculture. Agriculture in Indian economy, especially agriculture in Indian economy. And when I say agriculture, it is very important because in India, if you speak, around 55% of the people directly dependent on the agriculture. So when you see about employment or unemployment issue, agriculture is very important for us. And agriculture has unique significance in India because most of the culture, Indian culture and Indian traditions are directly on the agriculture. So we have to study agriculture from the point of economy, at the same time from the point of society, culture and values of the India. In that perspective, when I speak agriculture as a topic, I have some things to express. For example, first why agriculture is important, and then we will discuss about the features of Indian agriculture. There are some unique features to Indian agriculture especially, we will discuss about that. And then challenges to Indian agriculture. What are the major challenges India is facing right now as agriculture based country? And after that, when you discuss problems, we have to also discuss about the solutions. So at the end, I will discuss about the solutions. What are the possible solutions we have to make Indian agriculture developed, so that India can also be developed country. That is the idea of this lecture. It's just my minor lecture of 10 minutes. So now first basic information about agriculture. Around 55% of Indians directly depend on agriculture. Another 10% people, they indirectly depend on agriculture. For example, agriculture based industries. Example is food processing industry. So here also a lot of semi-skilled and low-skilled people work in these industries, and they also depend directly on the agriculture. And here, first heading that we have to discuss is how agriculture developed in India, the historical perspective. And when you see historical perspective, first one, during the Indus Valley civilization period itself. When I say Indus Valley civilization period, it was from 2500 BC to around 1900 BC. So first, agriculture as a systematic approach we have seen during the period of IVC, Indus Valley civilization period. And what are the important signs we have? First thing is Kalibangan. You all might have known Kalibangan. Kalibangan is a site where we found the plows, the significance, the signs of plowing. So this plowing means it tells that people know that agriculture is a science. It was not just random, but it was based on some logic, and they understood that. Plowing means it tells aeration of the soil. So people know about this soil and aeration process during the period of IVC itself. That's what my point is. So agriculture developed in India since IVC period itself. And during the IVC period, we know very well that important crops, for example barley, for example wheat, and all types of major cereals except rice, because rice we have seen during the period of Vedic age. But coming to barley, wheat and all these major coarse cereals we have seen during the IVC period. So this is, we can say, historical development agriculture. First one is IVC period. And second one, we can discuss about the Mughal period, the medieval period. Especially during the Mughals, we have seen systematization of agriculture. Under Akbar, there are two important systems came up. One is Zamindari system, and another one was Jagirdari system. And these are the two systems which changed the nature of Indian agriculture. How they changed? One is cropping pattern changed. Whenever government comes up with some institutional interference in agriculture, we will see some type of change. For example, cropping pattern or cropping intensity or the types of crops that people grow. That is what cropping pattern, that generally changes. So during the medieval period, we have seen that as a systematic approach. Here, Zamindari system, Jagirdari system, it introduced cropping pattern change in India. And second thing, even the taxation. Previously, agriculture was not taxed. But a standard taxation from ancient period started. That was around 1/6 of the total produce. Total, if you see from ancient India to medieval period, except the colonial period. In the colonial period, it increased to even 1/2, the taxation. But since ancient period to the Mughal period, we have seen the taxation as a systematic approach, 1/6 of the produce. And then when you see the modern, it is the colonial agriculture. And when you see colonial period, the very important feature is three systems they introduced, agriculture based systems. One is permanent settlement system. It was introduced by Cornwallis, everybody knew it. And permanent settlement system, what it gave? It gave the rights to individuals, rights over the land to individuals, zamindars, who are previously zamindars, and it said that every year they have to pay some amount of tax to the government, fixed amount of tax. That is what permanent settlement system. And after that, second system, revenue or Raitwari system, and third one is Mahalwari system. So three important agricultural changes came during the period of colonial period. That is, one is permanent settlement system, second one is Raitwari system, and then Mahalwari system. In brief, this I can say as the development, historical development of agriculture in India. Now, when you see about features, what are the important features of Indian agriculture? The first important feature of Indian agriculture, very important, sir. First important feature is monsoon dependence. India is monsoon dependence. How can I say it? How can I say it? With facts, we have to substantiate. Every concept has to be substantiated by a fact. When I say monsoon dependent, number one, 52% of Indian land, agricultural land, it is irrigated, and around 48% of agricultural land, still now, sir, even till today, it is non-irrigated. Non-irrigated. When I say non-irrigated, it means there is no systematic supplying of water to that land. And that 48% of agricultural land in India is completely dependent on the rainfall, natural rainfall. For that reason, it is called as monsoon dependence. So 48% of Indian land mass is monsoon dependence. And when I say monsoon dependence, all water intensive crops, for example, rice, for example, sugarcane, these type of crops are naturally not suited in India, not suitable in India, especially majority of Rajasthan area, Punjab area, Haryana area. We should not go for rice cultivation, but still farmers are going for rice cultivation. Why? Because of green revolution. I discuss about that green revolution and its negative consequences. Positive consequences are there, but there are some negative consequences. For example, change in cropping pattern. We'll discuss that. The first feature is monsoon dependence of Indian agriculture. Second feature, in this we can discuss about types of irrigation systems in India, different irrigation systems. For example, flood irrigation system is there, channel irrigation system is there, or canal irrigation system is there, and then drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. We call it as micro irrigation. These are very recent phenomena, but still 50 to 60% of the farmers in India, they rely on flood irrigation system and canal irrigation system even till today. And the problem with these two types of irrigation systems, what are the problems? Flood irrigation system and canal irrigation system. The problem is majority of the water will just get lost in the form of, for example, evaporation losses or distribution losses, or even during I can say stealing of water or minor losses, we can call it as. So not many losses are there in the flood irrigation system and canal irrigation system. And to fill that gap, now scientists, they came up with new approach in irrigation system, that is drip irrigation system and sprinkler irrigation system. In this, what are the advantages of these systems? When you use drip or sprinkler irrigation system, water efficiency will grow up. Efficiency will be almost, it will go up to 70 and 80%. What is efficiency of water irrigation? It is, if you give 100 liters of water to the crop, how much amount of water is actually absorbed by the plant. That is what the efficiency of water irrigation. And I can say drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation efficiency is around 70 to 80%. That is the advantage of using drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. So in India, 48% is monsoon dependent. So they are not having irrigation facility at all. Even in that 52% who are having irrigation facilities, within them most of them are relying on flood irrigation system and canal irrigation system. So the solution, I can just say here, the clue is we have to shift from this 48% of land. It has to be given irrigation facilities. That's the first important solution that we have to give. Second thing, within the irrigation facilities also, we should not go for flood irrigation or canal irrigation, but rather we should go for drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation. A lot of schemes are there. For example, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, one of the scheme which will support the irrigation system. Second feature of Indian agriculture. First is monsoon dependence. Second feature is non-mechanization. If you see Indian agriculture, it is not based on machinery. Why? There are some reasons. The first reason why Indian agriculture is non-mechanized, it is because of the joint family system. Joint family system in the ancient days, our previous generations, and now we are shifting to nuclear families. And whenever you shift from joint family to nuclear family, one economic consequence is these large land holdings will now become small land holdings. For example, there is a family in which 4 sons are there, and they own 10 acres of land. Let us say 10 acres of land. And now, when they have, let us say, 5 sons, these 10 acres will turn into, in the next generation, 2 acres to each son. So almost 2 acres means, what is the significance, what is the consequence we are seeing here? Large land holdings are now becoming small land holdings. And whenever you have smaller land holdings, you will never expect any farmer to go for buying a tractor or buying important harvesters or seedling machines, etc. Why? Because capital intensive. When we go for introduction of machinery in agriculture, we'll go only when we have large land holdings. When you are a large farmer, then only you can invest a lot of amount of money in the machinery. But here, large land holdings are now becoming smaller land holdings. It is because of the shift of Indian society, the shift from joint family to the nuclear family. Because of that, we have been seeing that non-mechanization is an important feature of Indian agriculture. These are the 2 important things I can discuss. And now the third one. If I have to say the third one, can I get new picture? Yeah. Now the third Indian feature is Indian agriculture is having a problem of absence of forward and backward linkages. In Indian agriculture, there are 2 important linkages. What is the linkage? If this is the farmland and once I started seedling and after the harvesting, this is called as agricultural period. And whatever the system that we established to support the agriculture. Agriculture means from seedling to the harvesting. That is what agriculture. Whatever we do just before the seeding as a support to the agriculture, that we can call it as backward linkages. And whatever we do after the crop being harvested from the field, that systems are called as forward linkages. And I am saying the third important feature of Indian agriculture is we have seen absence of, it is not the presence, sir, it is the absence of forward and backward linkages. When I say backward linkages, it is the market of seeds. Let us say seed market. We don't have well-developed seed market in India. And we don't have fertilizer market, well-developed fertilizer market in India. And we don't have credit or financial inclusion in India. I can say these seeds as backward linkage, fertilizers as backward linkage of agriculture, and credit as backward linkages of agriculture. And the feature of Indian agriculture is we don't see well-developed seed market, we don't see well-developed fertilizer market, and we don't see well-developed financial inclusion of farmers in the Indian agriculture. This is one of the important features, and we have to focus on this. Even government is coming up with a lot of schemes for making this efficient seed market, for developing efficient fertilizer market, etc. And when you see forward linkages means once the crop is harvested, whatever the important systems that we give to support the agriculture, they are called as forward linkages. For example, warehousing facility. What is the major problem of farmers? It is distress selling. Farmers sell in distress. Why? Because their crops are perishable in nature. After 10 days, the crop will perish. For example, tomatoes or onions, it will just perish. And what government has to do? We have to support the farmers by providing some institutional infrastructure. For example, warehousing facility. But in India, the problem is absence of forward linkages and absence of backward linkages. Here, warehousing facilities are not there in India. And even transportation facilities, we don't have transportation facilities proper. And then even the market. The biggest challenge to Indian farmer today is market access and price realization. When I say price realization, what is the cost of cultivation? We will calculate, and to that at least 50 to 60% of more amount they should recover. Only then they can invest more in Indian agriculture. Farmers, they will go for investment. But here, market is not fair to the farmers. Lot of middlemen are there. For example, APMC mandis. We have different problem. It's a unique problem. APMC mandis. We'll discuss later. But the market as a system, which is a forward linkage, is right now inefficient in India. So government has to come up with different legislations and etc. So warehouse facilities, transportation facilities, market facilities, and number 4, cold chain storages. Cold chain storages. So these are important features of Indian agriculture. When I say backward linkages and forward linkages, they are not properly developed in India. So now government has to focus on that. Now, when you discuss problems, whenever you discuss problems, you have to discuss the solutions. Unless and until you give solutions, answer will never be complete. The concept will never be complete. So let us discuss at last 5 minutes. We'll discuss about the solutions to Indian agriculture problems. And when you see solutions, number one, what we have to do? First challenge is monsoon dependence. 48% of the agricultural land was not having any proper irrigation facilities. So we have to go for irrigation facilities improvement. Irrigation facilities improve. How we can go? For example, schemes like Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. With this scheme, government is subsidizing drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, etc. And number two, I said low mechanization is the problem in features of Indian agriculture. Second thing. And here the solution. What is the solution for low mechanization? Smaller land holdings is the problem, right? Now we have to go for cooperative farming. One solution is going for cooperative farming. So whenever you go for cooperative farming, more farmers will come together and they can buy large machinery like happy seeders or tractors or different types of machinery. So cooperative farming is one of the solution, and government is encouraging formation of cooperatives through I can say like FPAs, farmer producer institutions, or FPCs, farmer producer companies, or FPOs, I can call it as. So this is one of the solution. Third thing is, even government came up with an idea of this renting the agricultural machinery, to the farmers. For example, at every mandal level, government will open a custom hiring center. We call it as custom hiring center. And in these custom hiring centers, government will place, let us say, 5 tractors and five important harvesters, etc. Now, any farmer, if he has this need of machinery, he can directly go to these custom hiring centers and he can take those machinery for rent. So here the problem of mechanization is solved here. So this is one of the important intervention of government, and through schemes like custom hiring center. And fourth one, the problem of productivity is there in India. Productivity is very low. Production is high, but productivity is very low. And the solution for that is government came up with soil health card. Soil health card. So here, through soil health card, what we are doing, government is giving a report of farmer's soil, and it tells and it recommends what are the important fertilizers that farmer has to give to the soil, and how much amount of irrigation is needed, and what is the limit. Beyond that, irrigation, the water cannot be given, and beyond that, fertilizers cannot be given, so that the fertility will come down. So such recommendations, which are scientific in nature, government can give. So these are important schemes that government is coming up with. Irrigation facilities, cooperative farming as a solution, and renting, giving the machinery to rent, for example, custom hiring centers, and soil health card schemes. Like these important interventions government has come up with, these are the solutions to Indian agriculture problems. And now, as a conclusion, if I have to conclude our Indian agriculture as a whole, first thing is Indian agriculture is unique. It is unique because total Indian economy is dependent on agriculture itself. 55% of the people directly dependent on agriculture, and 65% of Indian people, rural people especially, directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. And agriculture decides Indian society, social values, Indian culture, Indian festivals, Indian faith, everything is aligned with Indian agriculture itself. So because of this tendency of alignment of Indian society towards agriculture, we have to focus on protecting and conserving this agriculture sector as a sector. At the same time, we have to also go for development of this agriculture sector through different mechanisms. So agriculture as a sector, not only an economic contributor, but also a cultural contributor, but also a social contributor to the wellness of the Indian society. And ultimately, the aim, if we can protect the Indian agriculture well, then what happens? Absolutely, we can achieve the one nation, one well-being. I can call it as one nation, one well-being, because food security is the ultimate aim of any country. Food security. If there is no food, we cannot expect any country to go for space, let us say Mars, or some scientific aspirations. Unless and until one is having the food, he cannot aspire for something more. So food security is the ultimate goal. For achieving this food security, Indian agriculture is very, very important, and we have to protect it, we have to conserve it, and we have to interfere wherever we have challenges in Indian agriculture. And this is what, in simple 10 minutes lecture, I can say Indian agriculture, its features, its challenges, and the solutions. What we can do for solving the challenges of Indian agriculture. And thank you so much.